Greetings, everyone. It's Crime Talk with Crin, and we are back with episode 22. And we're going to take a little break from the Idaho 4, just a little break, because there are some things that I want to discuss as far as, the things that are shaking up over there. But in the meantime, I've had some folks a few months ago ask me for my input on the P.Diddy situation, and it seems like things have hit the fan. So that's what we're going to get into today. So when it comes to P.Diddy, Diddy, Love, whatever you want to call him, it's really a touchy subject because for me, at being an 80s baby, this goes way, way, way back. I mean, this goes way back. It's the rabbit hole goes deep. So I know everyone wants to talk about baby oil and 72 genders, and I'm not here to talk about that. I'm honestly not here to talk about that. But I know that some of the things that I do want to talk about are maybe a little bit further out there than some of you are interested in. So I am going to put out another video getting into the Puff Daddy rabbit holes, and it's going to be on my other channel, Crinspiracy Theories. The link will be in the description box. I'll probably be posting that video this week, so please subscribe. Click the notification bell so that way you can see when that video drops. Also, I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm very, very close. I know I took a break. I'm back. And so, I do want to get my subscribers up. So please share this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like the video and, help me to grow my channel. So, back to Diddy. I was talking to one of my teenage cousins earlier, and, she said that the P. Diddy story is hard to avoid, right? She said she doesn't really get into it, but it's everywhere. It's hard to avoid. And, but she's 16 years old, so she doesn't know the things that, we know as, 30 and 40-year-olds, about P. Diddy. I remember, and I was talking to my sister a couple of days ago, and I said, I remember when Puff Daddy, or Puffy, changed his name to P. Diddy. And I remember thinking that nobody was ever going to call him P. Diddy. It was stupid. It was like, he's trying to change his name. Like, this is dumb. Like, nobody's going to call him that. And so now, it's like you can, people basically, age or date themselves or tell their age when they call him Puffy or Puff Daddy. So it's funny because it's like, at some point it did switch from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy, and we just eventually went with it. So I know that, by now most of you have heard of, the charges and, what all is going on, as far as the trafficking and the weapons and the drugs and the baby oil and the 72 genders and the video of him assaulting Cassie in the hallway. And that's all, it all sucks. It's all horrible. But unfortunately for the older folks, it's not surprising. It's not surprising. And as someone who is in their late 30s, who has seen the rise of P. Diddy or Sean Combs, it's sad because when R. Kelly was taken down, that didn't surprise anyone. When Bill Cosby was taken down, that didn't surprise anyone. And, the Weinsteins and the Epsteins and these are open secrets. And it's unfortunate that we have just learned to grin and bear it. It's a thing, and we all know it, and it's rumors, right? And there's no proof, and we just go along. And then at some point, 30 years or so down the line, it becomes a big deal, and then we're sitting here like, yeah, and then there's young people that are, running to his defense, but the older people, and I'm not considering myself an old person, but, I'm in my late 30s, so Diddy came out in 97, right? So, there's young people who weren't around then. One of the main questions that keeps rising to the surface is why now? Why now? If he's been doing these things for 30 years, why now? Howard University gave Sean Combs an honorary doctorate degree. They have since revoked it, but they also gave back $1 million donation. And that says a lot. Now, they didn't just take back the degree, they gave him $1 million back. And then it's come out that while investigating, there were allegations way back when he went to Howard, alleging that he assaulted a woman outside of her dorm while he was a student there. So we're talking about years of alleged abuse, violation, and misconduct. And now he's been indicted by a grand jury. He's being held without bail until trial. Of course, because this just happened, we have no idea when the trial is going to start. And so a lot of people are concerned about his safety. Anyone who is unfamiliar or only vaguely familiar with P.Diddy, I would suggest that you do a Google search. And you can Google P.Diddy and insert any random celebrity. And then go to images. And he has a picture with just about everyone. P. Diddy's parties were infamous. There was a period of time where everyone wanted to be invited. So now we have, the P. Diddy parties, but there's also, now that this is a legal federal matter, we now know about freak-offs, right? And so there's these, I guess, like orgy-like events, and explicit conduct that goes on. And from what I gather from hearing celebrities speak publicly is that Diddy had these humongous parties where the who's who was there, and you weren't anybody unless you were invited to a Diddy party. But then there were after parties, and apparently these after parties could last for days. And at the after parties, there were drugs, there were sex workers, there were all kinds of freaky, nasty, triple X rated NDA level things going on. And so, because the who's who was always there, this is reminding people of Jeffrey E. and the island, and who all was at the island, and what took place on the island. And then when you start having that conversation, then it turns into his untimely demise, and did he do it himself, or was he assisted so that way he didn't tell his co-conspirators, accomplices, island goers. And so now that P. Diddy is of, one of those seemingly high-ranking individuals who was always the one to be around, now people are side-eyeing the party-goers and wondering which of the party-goers were at the after-parties and the freak-offs, and what role they played. And so we're hearing things like he's on watch. And we're hearing things like there's other inmates that are after him or targeting him or want a piece of him. And so people are wondering if Sean Combs is going to survive to see the trial. Because why is it that we're now seeing a narrative about his mental health being unstable? His mental health is shaky, and he might not survive, and we're watching him. And so Jeffrey E. was being watched too, and somehow he was able to allegedly unalive himself while he was supposed to be on 24-hour watch. And so since we've already seen something like this with very similar circumstances, people are wondering if the stage is being set, if we're currently being prepped or desensitized to the fact that maybe Diddy is going to not make it. I don't know. Of course I don't know. And because he has children, and, because he is, I know that currently he's, the disgraced mogul. And I know that what he's done and the trail of victims that he's leaving behind him is far greater than will ever be publicized. But there are people that love and care about him. And there are people who, he was a huge part of the culture, if you will. And it's going to be tough if that were to happen. So I hope it doesn't. I hope that for the victim's sake, I hope that he does stand trial, and I hope that everything that has been done comes to light. That's what I hope. I don't know if it will, but I do hope that, justice is served, whatever that looks like for the victims. There's also aside from the grand jury indictment, there's 7 open lawsuits against him, and we've heard about them, one by one, and the lawsuits do kind of mirror each other. And so he and his lawyers came out saying, these people are looking for paydays. And Cassie was the first one. And everyone remembers Diddy and Cassie being an item of some sort. So we didn't necessarily know what their relationship status was, but we always knew that they were, seen together on red carpets and things. And so when her lawsuit came out, and the internet was shaken, it was like, wow, this is a lot. And he came out and, he or his lawyer, I can't remember which one it was at this point, but they said that, basically she was selling a book and she was after money and she wanted a payday. And so they brushed it off like this was crap and she was just after money. But then they also settled within 24 hours. And there's people that could say like, oh, well, he just gave her some money because he loves her still or whatever. But it does look pretty guilty when you settle that quickly, considering the fact that she's now a married woman, she has children, she's moved on with her life. So it's like, well, and then there's people who, have things to say and, speculation about the husband and, he was supposedly her trainer, and there's talk about, his involvement in certain activities and things like that. So, there's a lot being alleged. However, not too long later, we have the video come out of him brutally assaulting her in the hallway, and then he comes out with this stupid, I can't even call it an apology because it was just garbage, about his darkest times and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, give me a freaking break. Give me a break. Like, come on. You said that it was fake. You said that it was lies. You said it was a money grab. And now you're going to sit here with this weird fake apology, but didn't say anything about the fact that you just told us that what she said was lies. So how was it lies? And now we have a video. And I do believe that when his homes were raided, that this is where they discovered this footage from, however many years ago. And I believe that it was strategically leaked because he came out and said that it was fake. And so they wanted for us to know that, no, this is for real. There are tons and tons of interviews online about people talking about him, Diddy, for years. There's hours and hours of interviews about him for years. There's a man named P.Diddy that's currently standing trial for the murder of Tupac Shakur, another rapper who was murdered in the 90s, and that murder has been unsolved ever since. And so very recently, this guy is arrested, and he's been talking about this for years. He's been saying that P. Diddy hired him, at the time Puff Daddy hired him, to take out Tupac, to unalive him. This is what he's alleging. And so this is all happening simultaneously. So now we have the houses being raided. We have the P.Diddy Tupac situation. And there's may or may not be a Kim Porter book. People keep talking about there's a Kim Porter book. And then a lot of people are saying that it's fake. We don't know. Kim Porter is the mother of his children, or some of his children, and she died a few years ago of pneumonia, and people don't believe that she died of pneumonia. They believe that, Diddy had a hand in it because she was supposedly writing this book. And so it's alleged that originally her death was ruled a homicide. I am going to look into that. I'll probably discuss that on my Crinspiracy channel. Again, the link to that will be in the description box because, that gets a little dicey. But anyhow, so this is way more than baby oil and freak offs. Okay? So I'm going to spend my free time digging in the crates, and I'm going to be providing updates when the hearings happen. I know there's supposed to be a status hearing coming up to see, how this case is going to be moved along. I believe that the judicial system is going to try to move this along so that there are no hiccups. I am sure that his legal team wants to move this along because they, are wanting him to get out. I'm sure that this is a complete and total culture shock to him. He's used to being in mansions and living a lavish lifestyle, and he probably didn't think for a second that he would be remanded without bail. And so now, they're like, yeah, you have to stay here till trial, and you can keep your $50 million and shove it, because we don't want that either. You, sir, are going to sit down and wait. And of course, he has the right to a speedy trial. So, this could be happening very soon in order to avoid a Jeffrey E. situation, because that's what's buzzing, behind the scenes. So we're hoping that doesn't happen, but that's what people are saying. That's what a lot of people are saying. So he's tried. He's been denied twice bail, and before he was even arrested. He offered $50 million before he even had the hearing, and they're like, yeah, no, we'll keep it, you're gonna need it. So it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I heard yesterday that he is anxiously trying to get a hold of his children, and it hasn't been made clear why he wasn't able to get in contact with his children. But I do know that his adult children live with him or at his home or homes or whatever the case. And so it seems like, I'm guessing that he doesn't think that they will be able to withstand the pressure that would be put on them by other people without him being there to run interference. So if they can't just call him and say, hey, such and so's asking me this, or, this is happening. So because he's not there to run interference or mediate on behalf of his children, who are adults. They're not kids. They're not kids. So, but I do think when people say he's anxious to get a hold of his children, he could just be, wanting to let them know, hey, I'm okay. Or he could be, letting them know where the secret stash is. Or, he could be, trying to reaffirm them hey, everything's going to be all right. Don't talk to anybody. Make sure you stick with the lawyer, whatever the case. We don't know what is going on, but my opinion is, he just wants to make sure that they aren't folding under pressure. So it's unfortunate. The whole thing is unfortunate. Cassie speaking out definitely gave a lot of people a sense of relief and made them feel like they were able to speak out and let their truth be told as well. And I do hope that justice is served, whatever it looks like. Whatever it looks like. This isn't the end of it. This isn't the end of it. And when I say this is just the beginning, I don't mean because the trial hasn't started. I mean that there are artists that are going to come out of the woodwork. There are allegations, and it's going to get way deeper than what we're talking about right now. When his lawyer asked if it was trafficking, if they all wanted to be there, I was like, oh, this is going to get dirty. And I know that this is going to be a mudslinging. It's going to be a disgrace. And I already know the way that the lawyer is going to attack the victims is going to be absolutely awful. And so, for people that are sensitive and, people that are triggered by things like this, I don't recommend you guys, following the case, in the mainstream media, because even though they're not being explicit, they are being, a little bit graphic as far as, the details, because they really want to hammer home the depravity and the just gross nature of this case. So, anyone who has been a victim of anything like this, this is not going to be the case for you to follow. And I know, again, P.Diddy has been a staple in the culture, hip-hop culture, the African-American culture for decades. But this, I know that it's going to get dirty. It's going to get ugly. And I don't know what the end is going to look like, of course, but I do not think that this is going to be dragged out for a very long time, but it's not going to be pretty. So I really just wanted to come out and let you guys know that I am tapped in. I am going to be doing a deep dive of all things P. Diddy. Again, check out my other channel, Crinspiracy Theories. The link to that is going to be in the description box. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 1,000 new subscribers. I'm going to have a new Idaho 4 video coming up talking about what all is going on. And that's all I got for today. So again, like and subscribe, share if you care, and I'm out.